Welcome, Shalom. Today's message, Cunning, Saving, Forgiving Yahweh. So first off, I'd like to look at H7014, transliteration, Quayin, or phonetic, Ka-yin, BDB definition, Keynote, or Smiths, eldest son of Ephraim and Shania, and the first murderer, having murdered his brother Havel, noun or proper masculine. The tribe from which the father-in-law of Moshe was a member and which lived in the area between southern Palestine and the mountains of Sinai, noun proper gentilic. Origins of H7013. We'll take a look at that now. So H7013, Quayin, or Koyin, spear, from H669 in the origin sense of fixity. Parts of speech, noun masculine. In the original sense of fixity, a lance is striking fast, or spear. So there we go. So obviously that's repeated twice for some reason. 1 Moshe 4, 8-16. And Quayin said to Havel, his brother, "Let us go into the field." And it happened while they were in the field. The Quayin rose up against Havel, his brother, and he slew him. Then Yahweh towards Quayin, "Where is Havel, your brother?" And he said, "I do not know. Am I the guardian of my brother?" And he said, "What have you done? The voice of the blood of your brother is crying out to me from the ground. So now you are being cursed from the ground which has opened her mouth to accept the blood of your brother from your hand. As you labour the ground, it will not continue to yield its strength for you. You will become a vagabond and a wanderer of the earth." And Quayin said towards Yahweh, "My depravity is too great to be carried away. Look, you shall have driven me out today from upon the face of the ground, and from your presence. I would hide myself, and I will be a vagabond and a wanderer on the earth. And it will happen that anyone who finds me, he will slay me." But Yahweh said to him, "In such a case 7 times shall vengeance be taken for blood on anyone that slays Quayin." So Yahweh set for Quayin a sign, lest anyone finding him should slay him. And Quayin departed from the presence of Yahweh, and he remained on the earth, wandering towards the east of Ephraim. The first scroll of Ephraim and Shania. Jealousy overcomes Quayin. He makes trouble in the family. How the first murder was planned. And I guess the first murderer had become place. So 78, 1-39. Then Ephraim said to Shania, "Look, the children are grown up. We must think of finding wives for them." And Shania answered, "How can we do it?" And Ephraim said to her, "We will join Havel's sister in marriage to Quayin, and Quayin's sister to Havel." Then said Shania to Ephraim, "I do not like Quayin because he is hard-hearted, but let them stay with us until we offer up to Yahweh in their behalf." And Ephraim said no more. Meanwhile Satan came to Quayin in the figure of a man of the field, and said to him, "Look, Ephraim and Shania have taken counsel together about the marriage of you two, and they have agreed to marry Havel's sister to you and your sister to him. But if it were not that I love you, I would not have told you this thing. Yet if you will take my advice and obey me, I will bring to you on your wedding day beautiful robes, gold and silver in plenty, and my relations will attend you." Then Quayin said with joy, "Where are your relations?" And Satan answered, "My relations are in the garden in the north, where I once meant to bring your father Ephraim. But he would not accept my offer. But you, if you will receive my words, and if you will come to me after your wedding, you shall rest from the misery in which you are, and you shall rest and be better off than your father Ephraim." All these words of Satan, Quayin opened his ears and leaned towards his speech. And he did not mention in the field, but he went to Shania his mother, and beat her and cursed her, and said to her, "Why are you planning to take my sister to wed her to my brother? Am I dead?" His mother, however, quieted him, and sent him to the field where he had been. Then when Ephraim came, she told him of what Quayin had done. But Ephraim grieved and held his peace, and said not a word. Then on the next morning Ephraim said to Quayin his son, Take of your sheep, young and good, and offer them up to your mighty ones, the Elohim, and I will speak to your brother, to make to his mighty ones an offering of grain. They both obeyed their father Ephraim, and they took their offerings and offered them on the mountain by the altar. But Quayim behaved haughtily towards his brother, and shoved him from the altar, and would not let him offer up his gifts on the altar. But he offered his own on it, with a proud heart full of guile and fraud. But as for Havel, he set up stones that were near at hand, and on that he offered up his gift with a humble heart and free from guile. Quayim was then standing by the altar on which he had offered up his gift, and he cried to Yahweh to accept his offering. But Yahweh did not accept it from him, neither did a mighty fire come down to consume his offering. But he remained standing over against the altar, out of humour and meanness, looking towards his brother Havel to see if Yahweh would accept his offer or not. And Havel prayed to Yahweh to accept his offering. Then a mighty fire came down and consumed his offering, and Yahweh smelled the sweet savour of his offering, because Havel loved him and rejoiced in him. And because Yahweh was well pleased with him, he sent him an envoy of light in the figure of a man who had partaken of his offering, because he had smelled the sweet savour of his offering, and they comforted Havel and strengthened his heart. But Quayim was looking on all that took place at his brother's offering, and was angry because of it. Then he opened his mouth and scorned the mighty ones, the Elohim, because he had not accepted his offering. But Yahweh said to Quayim, Why do you look sad? Be righteous, that I may accept your offering. Not against me have you murmured, but against yourself. And the mighty ones, the Elohim, said this to Quayim in rebuke, and because he abhorred him and his offering. And Quayim came down from the altar, his colour changed, and with a sad face, and came to his father and mother and told them all that had befallen him. And Ephraim grieved much because Yahweh had not accepted Quayim's offering. But Havel came down rejoicing, and with a gladsome heart, and told his father and mother how Yahweh had accepted his offering, and they rejoiced at it and kissed his face. And Havel said to his father, Because Quayim shoved me from the altar, and would not allow me to offer my gift on it, I made an altar for myself and offered my gift on it. But when Ephraim heard this, he was very sorry, because it was the altar he had built at first, and on which he had offered his own gifts. As to Quayim, he was so resentful and so angry that he went into the field, where Satan came to him and said to him, Since your brother Havel has taken refuge with your father Ephraim, because you shoved him from the altar, they have kissed his face, and they have rejoiced over him, far more than over you. When Quayim heard these words of Satan, he was filled with rage, and he let no one know, but he was lying wait to kill his brother, until he brought him into the cave, and then said to him, O brother, the country is so beautiful, and there are so much beautiful and pleasurable trees in it, and charming to look at. But brother, you have never been one day in the field to take your pleasure in that place. Today, O my brother, I very much wish you would come with me into the field, to enjoy yourself and to bless our fields and our flocks. For you are righteous, and I love you much, O my brother, but you have alienated yourself from me. Then Havel consented to go with his brother Quayim into the field. But before going out, Quayim said to Havel, Wait for me until I fetch a staff because of wild beasts. Then Havel stood waiting in his innocence, but Quayim, the froward one, fetched the staff and went out. And they began, Quayim and his brother Havel, to walk in the way, Quayim talking to him and comforting him to make him forget everything. A wicked plan is carried to a tragic conclusion. Quayim is frightened. Am I my brother's keeper? The 7 punishments, pieces shattered. 79, 1-28. And so they went on, until they came to a lonely place, where there were no sheep. Then Havel said to Quayim, Look, my brother, we are tired from walking, for we see none of the trees, nor of the fruits, nor of the flourishing green plants, nor of the sheep, nor any of the things of which you told me. Where are these sheep of yours you told me to bless? Then Quain said to him, "Come on, and you shall see many beautiful things very soon. But go before me until I catch up to you." Then went Havel forward, but Quain remained behind him. And Havel was walking in his innocence without guile, not believing his brother would kill him. And then Quain, when he came up to him, comforted him with his talk, walking a little behind him. Then he ran up to him and beat him with the staff, blow after blow, until he was stunned. But when Havel fell down on the ground, seeing that his brother meant to kill him, he said to Quain, "Oh, my brother, have pity on me. By the beasts we have sucked, don't hit me. By the worm that bore us, and that brought us into the world, don't beat me to death with that staff. If you will kill me, take one of these large stones and kill me outright." Then Quain, the hard-hearted and cruel murderer, took a large stone and beat his brother's head with it, until his brains oozed out and he wallowed in his blood before him. And Quain repented not of what he had done. But the earth, when the blood of the righteous Havel fell on it, trembled, as it drank his blood, and would have destroyed Quain because of it. And the blood of Havel cried hiddenly to Yahweh to avenge him of his murderer. Then Quain began at once to dig the ground wherein to lay his brother, for he was trembling from the fear that came over him, when he saw the earth tremble on his account. He then cast his brother into the pit he made, and covered him with dust. But the ground would not receive him, but it threw him up at once. Again Quain dug the ground and hid his brother in it, but again the ground threw him up on itself, until 3 times the ground thus threw up on itself the body of Havel. The muddy ground threw him up the first time, because he was not the first creation, and it threw him up the second time, and would not receive him, because he was righteous and good, and was killed without a cause. And the ground threw him up a third time, and would not receive him, that there might remain before his brother a witness against him. And so the earth mocked Quain until the word of Yahweh came to him concerning his brother. Then was the mighty ones, the Elohim, angry, and much displeased at Havel's death. And he thundered from heaven, and lightning flashes went before him. And the word of Yahweh, the mighty ones, the Elohim, came from heaven to Quain, and said to him, "Where is Havel your brother?" Then Quain answered with a proud heart and a gruff voice, "Why? Yahweh, am I the guardian of my brother?" Then the mighty ones, the Elohim, said to Quain, "Cursed be the earth that has drunk the blood of Havel your brother. And as for you, you will always be trembling and shaking. But this will be a mark on you, so that anyone who does find you won't kill you." For Quain cried because the mighty ones, the Elohim, had said these words to him. And Quain said to him, "O Yahweh, whosoever finds me shall kill me, and I shall be blotted out from the face of the earth." Then the mighty ones, the Elohim, had said to Quain, "Anyone who does find you will not kill you." Seen in Yeshayahu 2, 26-33. Because before this the mighty one said to Quain, "I shall put 7 punishments on anyone that kills Quain." For as to the word of Yahweh to Quain, "Where is my brother?" the mighty ones, the Elohim, said it in favour for him, to try and make him repent. For if Quain had repented at that time, and had said, O Yahweh, forgive me my sin, and the murder of my brother, the mighty ones, the Elohim, would then have forgiven him his sin. And as to the mighty ones, the Elohim, saying to Quain, "Cursed be the ground that has drunk the blood of your brother." That also was Yahweh's favour on Quain, for the mighty ones, the Elohim, did not curse him, but he cursed the ground, although it was not the ground that had killed Havel and committed a wicked sin. For it was fitting that the curse should fall on the murderer. Yet in favour did the mighty ones, the Elohim, so manage his thoughts, as that no one should know it, and turn away from Quain. And he said to him, "Where is your brother?" To which he answered and said, "I do not know." Then the Creator said to him, "Be trembling and quaking." Then Quain trembled and became terrified. And through this sign did the mighty ones, the Elohim, make him an example before all the creation, as the murderer of his brother. Also did the mighty ones, the Elohim, bring trembling and terror over him, that he might see the peace in which he was at first. And see also the trembling and terror he endured at the last, so that he might humble himself before Yahweh and repent of his sin, and seek the peace that was enjoyed at first. And in the word of Yahweh that said, I will put 7 punishments on anyone who kills Quain. Yahweh was not seeking to kill Quain with the sword, but he sought to make him die of fasting and praying and crying by hand rule, until the time that he was delivered from his sin. And the 7 punishments are the 7 generations during which the mighty ones Elohim awaited Quain for the murder of his brother. But as to Quain, ever since he had killed his brother, he could find no rest in any place. But he went back to Apham and Shinau, trembling, terrified, and defiled with blood. Chapter 2 of Yesha. And it was in the humbled 13th year of the life of Apham upon the earth, that he again knew Shinau his wife, and she conceived and bore a son in his likeness and in his image. And she called his name Sheph, because Yahweh had appointed me, another seed in the place of Havel, for Quain had slain him. And Sheph lived 105 years, and he procreated a son, and Sheph called the name of his son Enosh, saying, because in that time the sons of Apham began to multiply, and to afflict themselves and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against Yahweh. So that was 3739 BC, or 235. And it was in the days of Enosh that the sons of Apham continued to rebel and transgress against Yahweh, to increase the anger of Yahweh against the sons of Apham. And the sons of Apham went, and they served other mighty ones. And they forgot Yahweh, who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of Apham made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his mighty one, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of Apham forsook Yahweh all the days of Enosh and his children. And the anger of Yahweh was kindled on account of their works and abominations which they did in the earth. And Yahweh caused the waters of the river Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them, and he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of Apham did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of Yahweh. And in those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of Apham, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which they sowed in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briers. For from the days of Apham was this declaration concerning the earth of the curse of Yahweh, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Apham sinned before Yahweh. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against Yahweh and to corrupt their ways that the earth also became corrupt. And Enosh lived 90 years, and he procreated Quenan, 3649 BC or 325. And Quenan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom. And he reigned over all the sons of Apham, and he led the sons of Apham to wisdom and to knowledge. For Quenan was a very wise man and had understanding in all wisdom. And with his wisdom he ruled over the spirits and gods, the demons. And Quenan knew by his wisdom that Yahweh would destroy the sons of Apham for having sinned upon the earth, and that Yahweh would in the later days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Quenan wrote upon tablets of stone that was to take place in time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Quenan reigned over the entire earth, and he turned some of the sons of Apham to the service of Yahweh. There was a quick footnote. Demon is a Greek word meaning the same as Guf or God in infinite fortune distributor. And when Quenan was 70 years old, he procreated 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the sons of Quenan. The name of the firstborn, Ma'alel. The second, Enan. And the third, Merith. And their sisters were Ephah and Tisila. And these are the 5 sons of Quenan that were born to him in 395 or 3579 BC. And Lamechah, the son of Mephusheel became related to the queen by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his wives, and conceived and bore a son to Lamech, and she called his name Yahweh. And she again received and bore a son, and called his name Uval. But Tisila, her sister, was barren in those days, and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of Apham began to trespass against Yahweh, and to transgress the commandments which had commanded to Apham to be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And some of the sons of Apham caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of Apham caused some of their wives to drink, Tisila drank with them. And the childbearing woman appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands. Divorcees, while their husbands lived, for to the barren ones only they were attacked. And in the end of the days and years, when Tisila became old, Yahweh opened her womb, and she conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Tuval-Quain, saying, After I have withered away, have I obtained him from the muscular power of the El Shaddai. And she conceived again and bore a daughter, and she called her name Na'amah, for she said, After I have withered away, have I obtained pleasure and delight. And Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim, that he would not see. And Tuval-Quain, his son, was leading him, and it was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tuval-Quain, his son, with him. And while they were walking in the field, Quain, the son of Apham, advanced towards them, for Lamech was very old and could not see much. And Tuval-Quain, his son, was very young. And Tuval-Quain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrows he smote Quain, who was yet far off, and he slew him, for he appeared to them to be an animal. And the arrows entered Quain's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And Yahweh requited Quain's evil according to his wickedness, which he had done to his brother Havel, according to the word of Yahweh, which he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Quain had died, that Lamech and Tuval went to see the animal that they had slain. And they saw, and look, Quain, the grandfather, was fallen dead upon the earth. So yeah, I'll leave it at that for this message. Obviously, I could keep reading on. Oh, okay, we'll keep going on for a bit. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and while spanking with his hands, he struck his son and caused his death. And the wives of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. And the wives of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Quain and Tuval-Quain, and the wives of Lamech separated from him, and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his wives, and he pressed them to listen to him about his matter. So yeah, we'll leave it at there for this. May you be blessed. Shalom, and until next time, have shalom, or peace, completeness, and reconciliation.